Behind the Curtain: Financial Conflicts in Medicine and Their Impact on Your Health. Introduction. When we seek medical care, we often place our trust in the hands of professionals who have dedicated their lives to healing. We assume the advice we receive is objective, based solely on scientific evidence and what is best for our individual health. But behind this trusted relationship, a quiet but powerful influence exists, one that raises serious concerns about how decisions are made in exam rooms and operating theaters across the United States. Over the past 2 decades, growing awareness has emerged around the financial ties between pharmaceutical and medical device companies and healthcare providers. These connections, which include payments for consulting, speaking engagements, royalties, meals, and travel, are legal, but they raise critical ethical questions. Most importantly, they may influence patient care in ways most of us don't realize. Understanding the scope: billions in payments. Between 2020 and 2023 alone, over $8 billion in non-research payments were made to U.S. physicians by drug and device manufacturers. These payments were not for conducting clinical trials or publishing peer-reviewed research. Instead, they were largely for promotional speaking, consulting, product royalties, and other financial engagements. The Physician Payment Sunshine Act, part of the Affordable Care Act, requires these transactions to be publicly reported in an online database known as Open Payments, which is managed by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. While transparency is a step forward, simply knowing that payments occur doesn't answer the deeper question: do these financial relationships influence the care patients receive? The influence of money on medical decision-making. Numerous studies suggest that they do. For instance, research published in JAMA Internal Medicine found that doctors who received even small meals associated with specific drug promotions were more likely to prescribe that drug over others. Another large-scale analysis revealed a correlation between financial payments and the increased use of brand-name medications, even when equally effective, lower-cost generics were available. In surgical specialties, royalties and consulting fees from device manufacturers may sway the selection of implants or equipment used in procedures. Orthopedic surgeons, for example, are frequently compensated by companies whose joint replacements they use, raising potential conflicts of interest that could affect both surgical decisions and patient outcomes. Industry defenses and ethical gray zones. To be fair, many physicians insist that such relationships do not influence their medical judgment. They argue that industry collaboration helps advance innovation and allows doctors to stay informed about new therapies and technologies. And while this may be true in part, the mere presence of financial incentives introduces unconscious bias, a form of influence that can shape choices without anyone realizing it. This isn't about accusing individual doctors of wrongdoing. It's about recognizing that systemic patterns of influence can subtly shift how treatment decisions are framed, which drugs are promoted, and what options are presented to patients, the cost to patients, financial and beyond. The implications for patients are profound. Biased prescribing and overuse of branded drugs may lead to unnecessary expenses, increased side effects, and treatments that aren't always evidence-based. For patients with chronic illnesses, who often rely on long-term drug regimens, the cumulative effect of financially motivated decisions can be costly, both physically and financially. Furthermore, when medical device makers influence which implants or procedures are used, patients may not receive the most appropriate or safest option available. Device recalls, post-market failures, and unnecessary surgeries are risks that rise when profit edges into the exam room. Calls for reform: what needs to change? Leading experts and ethicists are calling for stronger safeguards. These include stricter limits on industry payments for non-research purposes, independent continuing medical education, CME, without commercial sponsorship, enhanced disclosure requirements at the point of care, so patients know when their doctor has financial ties to a product being recommended, institutional reforms that prevent health systems from prioritizing revenue-generating procedures over preventive or conservative care. Ultimately, transparency alone is not enough. Ethical reform is needed to create a culture of care where patient well-being is the true bottom line. How patients can protect themselves. As patients, it can be difficult to navigate this system, but awareness is a powerful tool. Here are a few practical steps. Ask questions. If your doctor recommends a brand name drug or a specific device, ask about alternatives. Look it up. Use the Open Payments database, openpaymentsdata.cms.gov, to see whether your physician has received payments from drug or device companies. Seek a second opinion, particularly before undergoing surgery or long-term treatments. A second perspective can help ensure your care is guided by evidence, not incentive. Advocate for transparency. Encourage your healthcare providers to openly share any potential conflicts of interest. Conclusion: the medical profession is one of the most revered in society, and for good reason. Many physicians are deeply committed to their patients and do their best under complex circumstances, but financial incentives, no matter how subtle, can create blind spots. The challenge isn't just to expose this system, but to change it in ways that protect integrity, restore trust, and most importantly, put patient health back at the center of medical decision-making. Disclaimer: this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Please consult a qualified healthcare provider for personalized guidance.